Okay, so the one I chose was to do Mary Ainsworth in attachment theory. A little bit about her. She was born in Ohio, but she was raised in Canada. They moved there for their dad's work. Um, both her parents were college graduates, and all of the kids were kind of encouraged to be the same, which Mary was fine with because she loved to learn, especially about psychology. When she was in school, she read a book by William McDougall about psychology, um, and then at 16 ended up being admitted into the honors course psychology class. And then during grad school, she worked a lot with William Blass. He was her mentor, and he was obsessed with or fascinated with the idea of security theory. And this basically said, like, if depending on how dependent you are with a parent or caregiver, then that would affect your relationship with this said parent or caregiver. Um, and this kind of sparked the idea of attachment theory into her head. And then later in life, she ended up going to Uganda and studying infant mother attachment there. And then that led to her Strange Situation project. This project was generally conducted in a room that had a window on one side that you could see into, but you could not see out of. So people in the room can't see out the window. People outside can't see in. And it would have like two chairs and some toys for the kid to play with, and the mom and the researcher to sit on the chairs. And then it had like 8 brief episodes to it. The first episode is the shortest. The rest of them are roughly 3 minutes long. But the first episode it would have the mother or the caregiver with the child and the person doing the research all in the room just for a minute. And then the person doing the research would leave and go watch through the window. And for a few minutes, the mother and child would just be in the room. Then, for the third episode, a stranger would join them. And then for the fourth one, the mother would leave the baby alone with the stranger. The fifth one, the mother would return and the stranger would leave. And then the sixth one, the mother would leave the baby just alone. And then the seventh one, the stranger would come in while the baby was alone. And the eighth one, the mom would come back and the stranger would leave. Now, the scoring was done based off of these four things. It was based off of proximity and contacting seeking that the child has, contact and maintaining contact, and then the third, avoidance of proximity and contact, and the fourth is resistance to contact and comfort. And based on these four, depending on how the child acted in each of the 8 episodes, then the child would be, I guess, placed or belong to one of these 4 attachments. Anxious, avoidant, insecure attachment. This is when the child kind of doesn't have emotion, doesn't really care, so like not attached to the caregiver. In fact, doesn't even care, kind of avoids and ignores the caregiver. Could care less whether the caregiver is there or leaves. Could care less if the stranger's there or not. And then the second one, this one's called secure attachment, and it's the most common. In the US, at least 70% of infants have this kind of attachment. Basically, as long as the caregiver is present, the child feels safe and will play. We'll just go play with toys or explore the room. We'll even engage in play with the stranger. And the third one is called anxious, resistant, insecure attachment. And this is basically just even before the separation of the caregiver and the child is distressed and anxious and clingy. When the stranger's present, he just is so clingy to the mother or caregiver, and then it's very difficult to calm down when the mother returns. And the fourth one was actually added by Ainsworth, a colleague of hers. It's Mary Main is the colleague's name. And in this attachment, then the child is very distressed when the mother leaves, will not calm down when the mother's gone, and will not calm down when the mother comes comes back. So just intense distress, unless it's just with the mother, and kind of angry that the mother won't come down when she comes back. So those are the different attachments that Mary Ainsworth and her colleague came up with.